Decoded.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Book Decoded. Are you ready to dig into some really thought-provoking ideas today? We're diving deep into a book that's all about finding your purpose, that deeper meaning behind everything you do.
Yeah, it's a topic that I think resonates with a lot of people, that feeling of wanting your work to be more than just a job.
Exactly, like wanting to wake up excited about Monday morning instead of dreading it. So the book we're exploring today is Simon Sinek's Find Your Why, which is actually the follow-up to his super influential book, Start With Why.
Right, Start With Why kind of laid the groundwork, and this one really dives into the practical steps you can take to actually uncover your own why.
And for anyone who hasn't read Start With Why, don't worry, we'll give you the rundown on the key concepts as we go. So think of this episode as your personal cheat sheet to understanding what makes you tick and why it matters so much.
Absolutely, because the book's main idea is that knowing your why, your core purpose, belief, or cause is like the foundation for feeling truly fulfilled and inspired.
And not just for you as an individual, but for organizations too, right? Like companies that have a clear why tend to be way more successful and have more engaged employees.
Exactly. They tap into that intrinsic motivation that makes people want to go above and beyond. It's not just about external rewards anymore.
So let's break this down. Find your why starts by asking this really fundamental question. Why do you do what you do? Not just your job, but everything.
It's like getting to the heart of what makes you get out of bed in the morning. What's that driving force?
And I think it's so easy to lose sight of that in the day-to-day grind. We get caught up in tasks and deadlines and forget to ask ourselves why we're even doing any of it.
Right. And the book argues that when you do find your why, it's not just some abstract thing. It actually helps you wake up each day with a clear sense of purpose. Like you know exactly why what you're doing matters.
And it's not just about feeling good. It's also about making a real impact on the world, right?
Absolutely, because when you're driven by your why, you're not just going through the motions. You're actually working towards something bigger than yourself, something that resonates with your values and beliefs.
And one of the things I love about this book is that it reframes fulfillment as a right, not a privilege.
Right. It's not something that's reserved for a lucky few. It's something that every single person is entitled to.
And for leaders especially, it becomes a responsibility to create environments where their teams feel connected to a purpose. It's about inspiring people to be their best selves to work every day.
Because when people feel like they're part of something bigger, it just changes everything. It unlocks a level of passion and commitment that you can't get any other way.
But even if you're not in a formal leadership position, I think we all have the power to influence how the people around us feel. Whether it's our colleagues, clients, or even just the people we interact with in our daily lives.
That's a powerful thought. And it really ties into this idea of taking responsibility for the kind of energy we bring to those interactions.
Okay, so let's talk about how Find Your Why actually helps you pinpoint your purpose.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of books out there that talk about finding your passion, but this one really gets into the nitty-gritty details.
Yeah, and it acknowledges that finding your why often comes from a place of maybe even discomfort or unfulfillment. Like it's often through those challenges that we start to really question what we want and what truly matters to us.
Which makes sense, right? When everything's going smoothly, we don't always stop to examine our motivations. But when we hit a roadblock or feel a sense of dissatisfaction, that's when we start searching for something more meaningful.
It's often those moments that force us to confront our values and what we really want out of life.
And that's where this book differs from those more vague pieces of advice like follow your passion. It's not just about what you enjoy, it's about uncovering the deeper why behind those passions.
And the book is a result of collaboration between Simon Sinek, David Mead, and Peter Docker. They each brought their own unique perspectives to create this really practical guide.
And one of the best examples of this practical approach is a story that Peter shares about meeting a steel salesman named Steve on an airplane.
Oh, that's a great story. It really highlights how even seemingly ordinary jobs can be connected to a powerful why.
Right, because on the surface, selling steel doesn't exactly sound like the most inspiring career path.
But through a series of questions, Peter helped Steve realize that his why was actually about contributing to a healthier planet for future generations.
Because the pure steel that his company produced was actually more sustainable in the long run. It led to less material waste, less energy consumption, and less pollution overall.
It's a perfect illustration of how you might need to dig a little deeper to uncover that underlying purpose, because it's not always obvious.
And another key point that the book makes is that your why only becomes real when you actually say it out loud. When you give it a voice, it becomes tangible and actionable.
It's like taking it from an abstract concept to a guiding principle that can inform your decisions and actions.
Okay, so now that we've kind of set the stage, let's dive into some of the benefits of actually knowing your why, which chapter 1 of the book really lays out.
And a lot of this builds on the golden circle model that Sinek introduced in the city. Start with why.
Right, so for anyone who needs a refresher, the golden circle has 3 rings. The why at the center, then the how, and finally the what on the outermost ring.
And the idea is that most people and organizations communicate from the outside in. They start with what they do, then how they do it, and maybe if you're lucky, they'll touch on why they do it.
But inspiring leaders and companies communicate from the inside out. They start with their why, and that's what really resonates with people.
Exactly. And the book argues that understanding your why helps explain why some things succeed even when all logic says they shouldn't, and why others fail even when they seem to have everything going for them.
It's like that missing piece of the puzzle that can either make or break a project or even an entire company.
Because when you're driven by your why, you're not just focused on the immediate outcomes. You're playing the long game and making decisions that are aligned with your core values.
And this is where it gets interesting, because the book actually challenges the idea that money is the ultimate motivator.
Right, because if you really think about it, money is just a means to an end.
Yeah, it's the why behind wanting money that's actually driving you. Whether it's the freedom to travel the world, security for your family, or the ability to make a difference in your community.
It's about understanding those deeper motivations that go beyond just accumulating wealth.
And the same goes for loyalty. The book says that true loyalty isn't built on just the features and benefits of a product or service.
It's built on shared beliefs and values. When a company's why aligns with your own, that's when you feel a genuine connection and become a loyal customer or a dedicated employee.
It's like you're part of a tribe of people who believe in the same things.
Exactly, and that's why emotional connection is so much more powerful than just rational persuasion. You can have the best product in the world, but if people don't connect with your why, they're not going to be truly invested.
And I think this is where it gets really fascinating, because the book connects this idea of emotional connection to the way our brains work.
It talks about the limbic system, which is the part of the brain that's responsible for our emotions and decision-making.
And the limbic system doesn't process language in the same way that the rational part of our brain does.
Which is why we often have these gut feelings that we can't quite articulate.
It's like you just know something feels right or wrong, but you can't always explain why.
Right. And the book says that understanding your why helps you bridge that gap.
Yeah.
It gives you the language to express those deep-seated feelings and make decisions that are aligned with your intuition.
So basically, knowing your why helps you make sense of those gut feelings and use them to your advantage.
Exactly. It's like having a compass that guides you towards the things that truly matter to you.
And when you can articulate your why, it also helps you inspire others. Because when you're speaking from a place of authenticity, people can feel it.
It's not just about the words you're saying, it's about the energy and conviction behind them.
And the book has some great examples of how this plays out in real life, like the story of Emily, the recent college grad, who aced her job interview by starting with her why.
Yeah, she told the HR director that her why was to help people be the best version of themselves.
And that statement immediately resonated with the company's values. It showed that she wasn't just looking for a job. She was looking for a place where she could make a real difference.
It's a perfect example of how knowing your why can help you stand out from the crowd and attract opportunities that are truly aligned with your purpose.
It's like finding your missing puzzle piece, as the book describes it. When you know your why, you can see where you fit in the bigger picture.
And it helps you approach your career or your business in a more intentional way. Instead of just chasing after random opportunities, you can start creating a path that leads you towards your goals.
And on the flip side, the book also has a story about a company that realized a highly qualified candidate wasn't the right fit because he doesn't believe what we believe.
Right. It shows that skills and experience are important, but they're not the only thing that matters.
Because if someone's values don't align with the company's why, it's going to create friction, and ultimately it's not going to be a good fit for either party.
It's a good reminder that hiring for cultural fit is just as important as hiring for technical skills.
And the book introduces this idea of nested WHYs, which basically means that the why exists at different levels within an organization.
So you have the overall company why, then the why of individual teams or departments, and then the why of each individual employee.
And ideally, all of these whys are aligned and working together towards a common purpose.
It's like a series of concentric circles all radiating outwards from that core why.
So ultimately, the why is not just some fluffy, feel-good concept. It's a practical tool that can help you make better decisions, build stronger relationships, and create a more fulfilling life.
It's like a framework for thinking about everything you do with intention and purpose.
All right, so now that we've talked about the benefits of knowing your why, let's dive into the actual process of discovering it, which chapter 2 of the book really focuses on.
And this is where it gets really exciting because it's all about unearthing those hidden motivations and beliefs that have been shaping your choices all along.
Yeah, and the book emphasizes that this journey of discovery is relevant for anyone, whether you're an entrepreneur, an employee, or a leader. It's about injecting passion and purpose into everything you do.
Because even if you're already successful in your career, you might still feel like something's missing.
It's like that nagging feeling that you could be doing more or that you haven't quite found your true calling.
And this process can help you figure out what that is and how to align your actions with your deepest values.
And the first step is all about gathering your personal stories, those defining moments that have shaped who you are.
And the book makes a really important point here. It says that each person has only one why. It's not something that changes over time. It's a reflection of your core values and beliefs.
So it's not about trying to become someone else. It's about understanding who you are at your very best.
And for some people, they might already be living their why unconsciously, but by actually articulating it, they can make it even more powerful.
And for others, they might be struggling to find their way. And understanding their why can help them get back on track and start making choices that are more aligned with their true purpose.
So the process of discovering your why is like an archaeological dig. You're looking for clues in your past experiences to piece together the story of who you are.
And the book frames this as your origin story. It's about looking back at those pivotal moments in your life, the highs and the lows, and figuring out what they all have in common.
And the book suggests that your why is usually fully formed by your late teens. So you're looking for patterns in your experiences from childhood, adolescence, and early adulthood.
It's about remembering those specific details, the conversations, the emotions, and the lessons learned from those experiences.
Because within those details are the seeds of your why.
And the more stories you can gather, the better. Aim for at least 10 impactful memories to start with, and then you can narrow it down to the 5 or 6 that really stand out.
And then the next step is to start looking for themes across those stories. What are the common threads that run through your most meaningful experiences?
What are the values, beliefs, or ideas that keep popping up?
And once you've identified those themes, you can start to craft your why statement, which is a concise and powerful way to articulate your purpose.
And the book provides a really helpful template for this, to your contribution, so that the impact of your contribution.
It's meant to be a single sentence that captures the essence of what you do and why it matters.
And it should be focused on the effect you have on others, not just on yourself.
Because your why is ultimately about making a positive impact on the world.
And operating with a clear why in mind can create that feeling of being part of something bigger than yourself.
It gives your work a sense of purpose and meaning that goes beyond just the day-to-day tasks.
But the book also emphasizes that discovering your why is not something you should do alone.
It's best to work with a partner or facilitator who can help you uncover those hidden insights and challenge you to think more deeply.
Yeah, because sometimes we're just too close to our own experiences to see the patterns clearly. A good partner can provide that objective perspective and ask those probing questions that we might not think to ask ourselves.
And it's important to allow enough time for this process. It's not something you can rush through in a few minutes.
But it shouldn't take weeks or months either. The book suggests aiming for somewhere between 6 minutes and 6 hours.
So let's talk about the role of the partner in this process. What are some of the things they should be doing?
Well, first and foremost, they need to be a really good listener. They should be fully present and engaged as you're sharing your stories and asking thoughtful questions to help you explore the underlying meaning.
And it's not just about listening to the words, it's also about paying attention to your body language and tone of voice to pick up on any subtle cues.
And they should be taking notes, looking for those recurring themes, key words or phrases that reveal your natural strengths and values.
And one of the most important things the partner can do is help you connect with the emotions behind your stories.
Right, because the emotions are really the key to unlocking your why. So the partner will ask questions like, how did that make you feel? What did you love about that experience? What makes this feeling or story special? How did it affect you? What's the lasting lesson? Why this specific story? What about others in the story?
And they'll encourage you to go beyond just describing what happened to really exploring how you felt at the time.
Because sometimes we tend to gloss over the emotional aspect of our experiences, but that's where the real gold is.
And a good partner will also be comfortable with silence, allowing you space to process your thoughts and feelings.
It's about creating a safe and supportive environment where you can really open up and be vulnerable.
And they'll also look for the silver linings, even in the negative stories, because sometimes our biggest challenges are also our greatest opportunities for growth.
And once you've shared your stories and discussed the emerging themes, both you and your partner should independently try to write your why statement.
And then you can compare your drafts and see what resonates the most.
And the book suggests a really interesting way to test your why statement. Ask a close friend, why are you friends with me?
It might sound a little strange, but the idea is to see if the themes in your why statement align with how others perceive you.
And you want to encourage your friend to go beyond the surface level and really tap into how your interactions make them feel.
It's about looking for that emotional resonance.
And as you're refining your why statement, the book suggests really unpacking each word to make sure it's authentic and meaningful.
They even ask, would you get it tattooed on your arm?
Which is a pretty high bar. But it forces you to really think about whether the words truly represent who you are.
And don't overthink it. The goal is to find your why and then act on it.
So as you wrap up this episode, we encourage you to think about those moments in your own life that really stand out to you.
What were the underlying emotions? What impact did you have or did others have on you?
And remember Steve, the steel salesman. His why was so much deeper than just selling steel. It was about contributing to a healthier planet.
And it often takes a little digging to uncover that deeper purpose. So don't be afraid to explore your own story.
What are the themes that emerge from your experiences? What's the common thread that connects it all?
And most importantly, what's one small action you can take this week to start living more in alignment with your why?
Thanks for joining us on Book Decoded, and keep exploring.